Hey all, welcome back. I am Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, here on Flosstube and on Instagram. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my channel about cross stitch. And I'm back for a January update. So I'm going to be covering everything that I stitched and bought and finished in January. I had been hoping to come back middle of January and do a mid-January update, but unfortunately I got a little sick, lost my voice in the middle of the month, so that's all right. We'll come back. It is February 2nd, so we are one day into February. That's okay. It's February 2nd, and I have a lot to talk about and show, or it feels like a lot. We'll see. We might buzz through this. So I'm going to go over fully finished items, finished pieces, things that I finished. We're going to do whips. We're going to do some stash acquisition. We're going to do some plans, all of it. And we're also going to talk about the marathon that my friends and I are doing. Again, we missed it in 2023, but we're back for 2024. And so the marathon for missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit is on. It's on for February and March, so there's definitely lots of plans for that. Okay, should we jump in? Let's just jump in because I have a lot to show. First up is FFOs, and I have a very exciting FFO. I went down to Acorns and Threads in Portland, which is my local-ish needlework shop. I took the train down with another local stitchy friend for their last Wednesday stitch day at the shop. And one of the reasons I wanted to go down was because they had called and said that a piece that I had dropped off for framing was ready. Are y'all ready for this? And this is a very opportune month to be able to show this because it is my Long Dog Leap Day project from 2020. And it is all finished and framed in the 4 years. Cardinal points, look how amazing it looks. So I took it down to Acorns and Threads for framing. They don't do glass. So you can get things framed there, but they don't do glass, which is fine by me. I kind of like it without the glass because then you can get close to the stitching. And I picked out this like very classic black frame, and it looks absolutely amazing. I am so happy. So this was my Long Dog Leap Day start in 2020, and it's all done. 4 years done and framed. Oh my gosh, maybe this will be my screen grab. Come on, you two. Do me well. So that's it. And when we get to plans, I will talk about my Long Dog Leap Day start for this year, for 2024. Okay. So that was my only FFO. I do have a couple finishes to show as well. If you tuned into my like 2-part feature length mini series of a whip parade, I talked about my plans for this year, which is very much finish focused. I plan to do 24 finishes in 2024, and that will get me under 50 whips before 2025, which is my 50th birthday year. And then there's going to be all the starts. So I had planned out to do 2 finishes a month. I had targeted some projects for that. And my projects for January, I did finish them both. Now, the second one got finished yesterday on February 1st, but that's A-okay. No worries. Still done. So here's my first finish, and this is Peace on Earth by Cottage Garden Samplings. So I did post this on Instagram, so you may have seen this on Instagram, but there it is, all done. If I can, I will pop a picture over here of where it was when I started at the beginning of January. Yeah, it's all finished. There it is. I may have dropped a little bit of chocolate on it while I was working. Yes, I eat while I stitch. And then when I washed it, I did get a little bit of bleed I had tested the threads and they didn't bleed. But then I did get a little bit of bleed, probably actually as it stayed wet and dried. But that's okay. I'm not mad about it. I'm still gonna frame this up and it will hang. I'll probably actually bring this out at Christmas time. This will probably go with my Christmas decorations. So I have some time to get that framed this year in time for next year. So that is finish 1 for 2024, for 24 finishes in 2024. And then the second project that I had targeted for a finish that I finished yesterday, which made it my first marathon finish. Let's talk really briefly about the marathon. I've done this in previous years in collaboration with Jessie of Mislaid Pages, Michelle Garrett of Bendy Stitchy Designs, Michelle Bendy Stitchy, Alicia, she's on Instagram as Resist Stitch, and Rachel Ray. Who's Rachel Ray? I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. And we have done this 100-hour marathon in previous years, typically in the fall. Last year, everybody's fall was a little busy, and we decided that maybe February and March would be a better place to put the marathon because people are kind of, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, still inside. The weather's not that great. So our marathon has just started yesterday, and so you can all join in. So the idea is that you dedicate 100 hours to your stitching, and that can be however you want it to look. In the past, I've done 100 hours on a full coverage piece. So you can do it on a single piece. You could pick several different whips to put that in. I am doing 100 hours focused on finishing. So I'm going to try to finish as many things as I can in my 100-hour marathon. Now, if you would like to donate to my marathon, I will put the link below to the pledge page where you can pledge if you want to do $1 an hour, 10 cents an hour, whatever. I would appreciate any support, even if it's just cheering me on. If you want to do your own marathon, you can also go to that page at the link below. It's the 99 pledges page, and set up your own page. You can set it, if you go to the very bottom, it will say add participant or become participant, and you can click that and set up your own pledge page so that other people can pledge to your marathon. I hope that made sense. We've done this in past years. There will be, both Rachel and Michelle are going to do some auctions on their, like, the free side of their Patreon. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll be posting all of this great fun things in my stories. I think there's going to be some Zoom stitchy sessions in support of the marathon. So it'll be like you make a donation, then you can come to the Zoom. I'm hoping that in February I can get it together to do a de-stash, because I have a lot of things to de-stash, and I would love to do that and have some of the proceeds go towards the marathon. So that's marathon. I am going to be focusing on finishes, as many finishes as I can get in 100 hours. And my very first one that came on February 1st after 2.5 hours was Sing a Sampler. Look how good it is. Oh my gosh. I'll try to pop a picture in of where it was at the end of the year when I did my whip parade. But essentially I did the whole bottom. I did the whole bottom section, those 4. And this is Sing a Sampler by Silver Creek Samplings and Silver Creek Samplers. You know who I'm talking about. And it's in my own colorway that was inspired by one that Jan Hicks posted on her website. So if you're interested, I will post this on my Instagram with pictures of the colors I used. Fair warning, some of them are like no-name color and cotton. Or, you know, may have been limited edition, but at least it'll give you an idea of what I used. So there it is. It looks so fantastic. I'm going to order a frame, I think, on Etsy from Frame and Wire for this, and I can't wait to get it frame. So that's 2 finishes, 2 down, 22 to go, and we'll see how many I can get done in marathon. So those are my finishes. What other things did I work on in January? So many things. My current 25/7 piece, so this is the piece that I work on first thing when I start stitching for the day, is Oh Joyous Day. And so I work on this a little bit every day I'm home. I don't take it with me when I travel, but every day I'm home, this is the first thing I stitch on, and I'm going to do that till it's done. And hopefully it won't take too much longer. And here's where I am. I mean, too much longer by, you know, maybe 4 more months. But I made really good progress. I'll pop a picture in of where it was at the beginning of January, and I got just lots done. Lots and lots done. I think I did this whole bottom section here. So much satin stitch. All of these little sawtooth borders are satin stitch. So very much satin stitch. So I worked over to the midpoint on the bottom, and now I've come back up to the top. There's one more flower, and then I'll bring the border down, and we'll just keep working along like that. It is so pretty. It's so pretty. I have somehow managed to lose one of my flosses. The paper tag tore, and it had been loose in there, and I don't know where it went. So you'll see that there are some stitches missing here, because I'm really hoping that floss is gonna reappear. I think it will. And if it doesn't, and I get to the end and it hasn't, then I'll find something in my stash that looks close to where it's already stitched, because it's the same color as this one. I'm sure I have something similar that's close enough, right? I'm sure I do. So that's Oh Joyous Day, and I'm just going to continue to work on that for, 25 minutes or so every day until it's done, and we'll see how far I get this month. We will see. I'm over halfway, so I think it's like 2/3 of each of those bands. So I'm on the downhill slide, right? The other thing that I did in January was I had a New Year, New Start, which I know I'm supposed to be whipping down, but it's fine. I had to, because #damn it, Jacob Sal. That's right. I started the Modern Folk Embroidery 2024 Stitch Along, No Time Like the Present. And this stitch is so fast. It's monochromatic. I can do it in Pattern Keeper. And when I sit down to work on this, I get stitches in, it feels like, very quickly. So now I think that I could potentially keep up with this and finish it this year. I do. I really do. I took this when I traveled because it was a very easy travel piece, and this is where I got to. So this is 3,500 stitches, which, the way Jacob has it broken up, he has it in like bands, which I cannot, I can't follow along that way. This is how my brain works. So this is how I'm stitching it. But he has it broken up in 3,500 stitch segments, which would have it finished at the end of October. So I did do 3,500 stitches this month, but I think if I get just like 3,000 a month, I can finish it by the end of the year. Look how beautiful this is. Absolutely stunning. I did make a little change on the border and did it all in the one darker color. So I am using DMC 930 and 931. And yes, I have a needle just stuck in there. So 2 colors of DMC, absolutely beautiful. No Time Like the Present. This is on a piece of Color and Cotton Overcast. Absolutely stunning. This piece is going to be so beautiful, and I'm going to see if I can keep up with it here and there. Although during marathon, we're going to focus on finishes, so that might not see a lot of love. Okay. On Mondays, I decided this piece is also one of the 24 that I want to finish, and that is Mirabilia's, my photo came off the front, Touching the Autumn Sky. This is one of the things I want to finish this year. And my friend Sarah at Sarah Memphis E, she posted that she was going to be working on her Touching the Autumn Sky on Mondays for Mirabilia Monday stitching. And I thought, that's a great idea. I bet if I work on this on Mondays, because I think I have this slated for a finish in like November. That's getting kind of close to the end of the year to try to whip out a finish on a big piece. But if I work on it on Mondays, I bet I can get it done. And so I worked on this on 2 Mondays. I was traveling. I've been out of town a bit in January. So I was traveling on a Monday. But so this got 2 Mondays. And I'm going to work on it any Monday I'm home. And this is where I got to. She looks so good. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, how are we doing? There we go. I'm trying not to like hold up. Well, I'm failing is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to pop in here where it was at the end of the year. I worked in, got all of her ribbons done. That was a futzy bit of stitching, let me tell you. And I got all the back stitch done in like plaid back stitching in the scarf. And then I started working on her, I think it's like an apron or dress towards the back. So she looks amazing. I think I still had some stuff to do in her hair too. Well, you'll know, you would have seen the picture. But I'm getting good progress on just, working on it on Mondays. So I'm very excited to give this Mondays and get her finished this year. And I love this fabric. It's from Be Stitch Me. I think it might have been a Friday Night Fight Night piece. I've had it for quite a while. And when I saw it, I just knew I wanted to use it for Touching the Autumn Sky because we get these like Japanese maple trees. We have them in that they line our road and they turn bright red in the fall. And it just reminded me of those Japanese maples. So pretty. Beautiful. Okay, so that was Mirabilia Monday stitching. The other thing I picked up and worked on was Quaker Genetics. Also, one of the 24 pieces I plan to finish this year. And when I showed it during my whip parade, I said, oh, I realized I had 12 medallions left. And so I thought maybe doing one a month would be a great way to get this finished this year, rather than sit down and try to like stitch the same thing over and over and over again in one particular month. And so, what can I say? I'm a genius. Fantastic idea. Sometimes, every once in a while, I have a really good idea. And so, here is where I am with it. Ta-da! So in January, I'll put the picture of where it was prior to January over here. And I think I did this one, which was started along with the letters up here in January. And then when I went down to acorns and threads on Wednesday on the 31st, I went ahead and put another one in because that was just perfect to sit and stitch on at the shop. So here is where Quaker Genetics is. And yeah, my plan is to just do one a month because I have 10 more. Yeah, I have 10 more of the medallions, and then just the little doodads. And the little doodads will go in, and a couple of the punnett square key. So fantastic. Oh, this looks so good on this fabric. This is Coffee Club by Be Stitch Me, 36 count. And I think I'm using mostly called for colors. I may have subbed a couple. But that's Quaker Genetics. So I'm actually done with this for February. This will come out again in March and get another medallion put in. So that's January and February stitching on Coffee Quaker. Now, let's talk about February projects that I had slated for a finish. As I said, I picked 2 projects a month, and the first February project I already picked up and started because it was perfect stitching for the train on Wednesday. So I did start this a day early, but this is Coffee First. And but I mean, see, like, it's big blocks of color, which is perfect train stitching. So here's where I am, and this, I'm going to keep working on this now till it's done. This is going to be the first one I target for February. This is on 36 count coconut shell by Be Stitch Me. And I did my own conversion, but similar colors. So here is where I am. And I'll put a picture up in here of what it looked like before I picked it up. So I essentially did this whole lady and started on the cup to and from Portland the other day. Look how good she looks. And then that's just going to be a lot of white stitching. But it looks fantastic on this fabric. Absolutely fantastic. So I have a little bit more like coffee bean branches and then the cup to do. But I feel like this is going to go pretty quick. I don't think this is going to take very long to finish. And then I'll have all of this fabric, and keep this fabric in your mind, this coconut shell, because I'm going to mention it again later. This is the thing about having a lot of whips, is I end up having a lot of fabric locked up in my whips because I don't like to cut it. I don't trust myself. So I don't like to cut things until they're done. It's just my way. Okay, so that's the first project that I have. Hold on. I'm so sorry if that set off any of your doggies. He heard something with his big old ears. Needed to bark at. Okay, so Coffee First is my first project that I have slated for a finish in February. And the second one I have slated for a finish is my Stitcher's Heart. And I'm working on the box top. I've already done the pin cushion. I'm putting it together, but it's stitched. And I'm working on my Stitcher's Heart box top. I don't have a ton done on this, but I do think that it should go fairly quickly. So here is where I am. I haven't worked any on this since my whip parade, so it doesn't look any different, but that's where I am. And yeah, I'm using, I think it's even the called for fabric. I think it's flax or platinum. I think it's Zweigart Platinum and called for colors. So yeah, so this is what I will work on after I finish Coffee First. And then I'm hoping to get in another finish because, you know, I'm marathoning finishes after all. And the one that I pulled out as maybe a bonus finish this month is a Patreon chart from Michelle Bendy called The Parties. I think it's called The Parties Are Advised to Chill. This is where I am with a whole bunch of needles threaded and hanging. So this is the frame. You can see it's not very big. I mean, there's a bunch of doodads around the frame, but it's not very big. So this is where I'm starting on The Parties Are Advised to Chill, and I'm hoping this is going to be like a little bonus finish in February. So we went through whips, and plans. The only other thing I have planned for February is this is what I kept cardinal points in when I was working on cardinal points. And so as I was kitting up my Long Dog Leap Day start for the 29th, I decided, even though it's not, I guess, it doesn't match like cardinal points. This was clearly a cardinal points bag. It is now going to be forever and always my Long Dog Leap Day style bag. So I am going to be starting the pointed fifth. I'll pop a picture in here of what it's going to look like. And I am going to be using this silk from Mrs. Sadis called River for all the arches. And then when I was down at Acorns and Threads, Janine helped me pick out a very dark tealy green that will be my contrast color that I'm going to do all the animals in. So this will be all of the archways, and all the vignettes inside and the like animal scenes are going to be in a dark solid that I needed to order. I'm going to be stitching it on this piece of 36 count tephra by Cedar River. You can see I have my needle minder all ready to go. And I started a little test stitch. This is my little, I did a little test to make sure that, I don't even know which way it goes, to make sure that I liked the variegation on that silk. So this is going to be my Long Dog Leap Day start on the 29th. I don't know if that contrast silk will be in yet, but that's okay. I have plenty to stitch in this. So that's it for plans for February. Is finishes, 25/7. Oh Joyous Day 25/7. Lots of finishes. I may work a little bit on modern folk embroidery. We'll see. I really want to focus on the finishes for marathon and then start on the 29th. Woo! So that's whips and plans. That was a lot. Now, let's do purchases. Some of these purchases, as I mentioned, I'm doing 24 finishes this year to get under 50 whips. 2025 is my 50th birthday year. I turned 50 in 2025, March of 2025. So my plan is to start 100 projects. I've made a list of a possible 100 starts. I'm definitely starting 12 turkeys. I'm going to do at least one turkey a month. And I have left myself some space for new things that might come out this year. However, I was pulling very heavily from things I either already had kitted up, partially kitted, patterns I already have. So I went through all of my projects that I had kitted or partially kitted. I went through my patterns and I started listing out 100 possible starts for next year so that I could assign them months. I'm still working on that process. I have through like May. I'm targeting in 2025 2 starts a week. So there's going to be times that maybe I'm traveling and I can't start something. So if I did 2 a week, that would be 104. But I figure if I target 2 a week, then that's going to come out about right. It's going to take a lot to finish kitting up and getting 100 things ready to start in 2025. So my plan is each month I will get everything prepped and ready for that same month in 2025. So in January, I went through and pulled everything out and got everything ready for next January's starts. Does that make sense? So some of these purchases were in service. Some of the things that I purchased and have are in service of that goal. So I'm going to show you the things that I purchased, and then I'm going to show you the things I have kitted up for next January, because I thought this would be fun. Every month I can show you the things that I currently have planned to start in the same month next year. Now, plans change. These are all very soft plans, but I figure I better have most of it planned out and ready to go. Okay, so the first thing I purchased is one of my daughters got me a 1-2-3 Stitch gift card for Christmas. And so I purchased a couple patterns that I didn't have, but were planned starts for 2025. And the first one is the Sunnyside Sampler. I've never done a drawn thread. I like so many of their patterns. Quite a few people had done a stitch along for this in 2023 and I just loved it. So I like all of their garden ones, like the autumn garden, the kitchen garden, the summer garden. I don't think I'll have time in my life to do the whole series, but this one had that kind of feel, and I like the song that goes with it, the verse. So this is going to be a start next year. So I purchased that pattern. The other thing I purchased that is going to be a start next year is a peacock, unicorn, and badger. I mean, so many people have stitched this, are stitching this. I've always wanted to do it. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to start this next year. Now, one of the reasons I was excited to start this was because I had purchased a piece of arboreal fabric from Cedar River Linen that is like a perfect match for the background of this. And so when I had purchased that linen and it came, I immediately thought of this chart and thought, I'm going to stitch it on that fabric and not stitch all the background and save me all those stitches. Well, when I went to pull that fabric out, I realized I had bought a quarter, a stitcher's quarter, and it's not big enough. This is a big chart. This is a big chart. So that meant that I had to order some more fabric from Cedar River Linen. So this is another purchase that I made. So this is 36 count arboreal. Look at this. Beautiful. Now this one's big enough. Look how perfect this is going to be. It's going to be so beautiful on this fabric. And did you all see that Jody of Cedar River Linen just dropped 3 new colors yesterday? I've already placed my order. I've already placed my order. So this fabric will go with peacock, unicorn, and badger when I get around to hitting that up. I also love how Jody packages all of her linens. They're so beautifully packaged and no plastic. Love that. Okay. One of the other things that I received are my regular fabric clubs. So I'm in both Bestitch Me and Color and Cotton. I get a 32 count linen from Bestitch Me. This was, I think this was the December color that came in January, called Into the Veil from Bestitch Me. So this is a 32 count linen. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then just the other day I got my January piece, and this is Dusty Cottage. Also, look at that. So good. Ooh, beautiful. And then from Color and Cotton, I get a 36 count linen. And this was the January piece. I get the neutral in both of them. This is Mushroom Bold. That's a great color. That's a great color. Anything and everything could go on that. So that's Mushroom Bold. 36 count from Color and Cotton. So those were my fabric clubs. As I've been kitting things up and pulling the DMC, I decided sometime last year, I started to have an inkling that I wanted to change up how I store my DMC. I traditionally have bobbinated and had things on bobbins, but I decided I wanted to move to thread drops. So I placed an order with Adam Hart Cross Stitch. I love her thread chips. So I decided that I'm putting all my DMC on her thread chips by number. So I got a whole bunch of the frosted clear thread chips, and I did get one of the blends because I'm going to be kitting at least one Mira. I'm going to open these up for you because this is just genius. This is about what sold me. Look. So you can put both colors on there. And then if you have an extra of the blend, perfect. So those were my purchases this month. It was all pretty much just getting ready for next year. You want to see what I have kitted up for next January? In no particular order. Let me pull these out. I've been kind of keeping them in a tote. Okay. I don't know what order I'm going to do these in, but in no particular order, these are the things that I have slated to start next January. First up, Coffee Quaker. And I'm going to use the other part of the fabric from Coffee First. They'll kind of match. So I'm going to use that coconut shell fabric and mostly called for threads. I think I subbed a couple, but because this one is a color and cotton for sure. So, but mostly called for threads. And that's going to be the first start next January. My January turkey start is going to be Gobble Wobble by Bent Creek because I have it as a whole kit. I've never stitched with pearl cotton, so I think this is going to be fun. And like that I should just be able to start and finish, right? That's going to be a start and finish next year. I did try to be very mindful about mixing like sizes. Like I'm not starting 100 huge projects. Not that I couldn't, because I certainly have probably 100 huge projects I would like to start, but I tried to mix it up. And this I think will just be a cute little, so that was all kitted. Done. Easy peasy. Oh, love this one. The Fox. This is from A Year in the Woods. I did get on auto ship for this and got all 12 patterns, and in the end decided to do one from each season. So I gifted some to friends who wanted to stitch them, and the rest will be in that D-stash that I'm hoping to do. So keep an eye on my D-stash Instagram. It's 2martini stitcher _ D-stash because I'm hoping to get pictures taken and get that going. So I'm going to do the Fox. First one up, winter, is Fox, and I have it kitted with some color and cotton fieldstone and mostly called for, I think this is all called for. So some DMC, you can see, look at me already putting those thread chips to use, and then a couple over dyed. I think it's gonna look great on that. Box. Okay. And I will probably put, I mean, look how perfect this bag is from Garantone bags. But I think I'll probably end up putting all 4 of my Year in the Woods projects that I start in there together, to be honest. Okay. This one is Primitive Hair, Count Twice, Stitch Once. And I'm going to put this on, I think this is a 32 count Atomic Ranch Into the Woods. Oh, how great is that snail going to be on this? Oof. And I think this is also called for colors, except for it calls for an over dyed threadworks that like I seriously couldn't find. So I picked up this kind of bronzy petite treasure braid. It's for his crown and the needle. So I think that's going to look fantastic. Very excited for that one. Okay. So what is that? That's 3. Ooh. Get it back in there. Next is, oh, I love this one. A Cross Stitcher's Confession. Just fudge it and carry on. This is my motto in life. I actually did more frogging last month, I think, than I had in the previous 2 years, but they were things that just couldn't be fudged. And I decided, I have this piece of fabric. I decided it's calls for antique white. And I just thought that little frog has a sparkly crown. And so I am going to use this white opalescent that I have, like, look at this, like 3 projects on, but it's going to fit right here. It's going to fit right here. So it's going on this white opalescent. And I'm going to use this cottage garden thread that is for the Quirky Quaker Frog, which I haven't stitched yet, but I bought this amazing cottage garden thread for that I think every frog I ever stitch will be in this, because this is more than enough for a bunch of little frogs. So I'm going to use that, some Anchor Black, and oh, and also the Petite Treasure braid it calls for his crown, and I'm going to use it for the needle too. Do a little silver needle. So how fun and sparkly is that going to be? Okay. That will be my motto for the year. Just fudge it and carry on. Next is, oh, this one's so good. This is the Beverly Glen Sampler by Dee's 20 Stitches. I bought this at, like, pre-ordered it to pick up at Stitch North this year. This is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the called for fabric is Arboreal by Cedar River Linen. So that piece that was too small for Peacock, Unicorn, and Badger, Beverly Glen Sampler. Look at that. Had the called for. And at Stitch North, I purchased the Roxy Floss Co. Pack. So this is now all, and I even put in my Stitch North needle minder. Isn't that fun? So fun. So this was, I had everything ready to go for this. This is why we have a healthy stash, because you can just put things up. No problem. I clearly went with a frog theme. Who let the frogs out? I finished Whip It Good last year. Oh, it's also a Cedar River Arboreal theme, because this is 18 count Ada. I mean, if this doesn't scream like frogs and toads to you, I don't know what does. And I'm going to stitch it in bright white sulky, just like I did Whip It Good. There'll be little matching pieces, and I have a little froggy needle minder in there too. So we're going to have a frogs and Cedar River Linen themed January next year. I'm here for it. I am here for it. And then the last project is one that I had as a kit. I'll purchase as a kit, Heart and Hand Everyday Things. And this came with the linen. Also came with the finishing. This was a silver needle kit, and I think I might have picked this up off of a freebie table or Stash Unload, one of the two. But it came with the fabric, it came with all the threads, and they were bundled, but it came with a little thread card. So I unbundled them, put them on the thread card with the symbols, and so this is all ready to go. All ready to go, but I already had that all kitted. I just got it ready to start. So there we go. That's 11. If you were keeping count, that's 11 projects, and I said 12, or 2 a week, which would be 12 projects. The other one that I plan to start in January is a chart that I'm hoping will be released this year, and that's Lila Studios Winter Quaker. I plan to start all 4 of the seasons next year, and I am banking on Winter Quaker being released sometime this year so I can get it kitted up and start it in January. If it's not released by the end of this year, then I'm sure it will be released in 2025, and I'll start it in December. But so oh, speaking of that, I forgot to show you my purchases at Acorns and Threads. I did purchase a few things at Acorns and Threads, a couple of skeins of DMC to get at my January things, but I did pick up a couple of charts. I got some 18 count white perforated paper because I want to do some of the Satsuma Street ornaments that are in the Jingle Ball book. And I think they're charted for 14 count, but they had this white 18 count, and then I just thought, well, they'll just be smaller and cuter. So I picked up some perforated paper. I also picked up Autumn is Joyful. the autumn Lila Studio Quaker. I have spring already. I don't have summer, and they were out of it at Acorns. I'll pick that up later, but I did get the autumn. And then I cannot remember who showed this. Ooh, I do. It was Deanna of Darling and Whimsy Designs showed this, I think, in her, either in one of her Whippet or Ditchits, maybe. And I swear I had never seen this before. And I had to get it. She Cites a Bird from Blackbird Design. Because look, 2 birds and a cat. Come on, that's so cute. And now I really want to start this for February. It's kind of small. Okay, no starting things, Erin. But look how good that is. She Cites a Bird. So those were my purchases at Acorns and Threads, other than picking up my framing. All right. That's everything. I felt a little chaotic. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it, and I hope that this was fun, and I hope to be back in the middle of February this month, so I can show you my progress on all my finishes. Please join us however you can for the marathon, even if it's just cheering us on and sharing all of our posts to get a little more reach. That's super helpful as well. I know things can be tight money-wise, so I totally understand if you can't donate, but you could, maybe people will donate to your marathon. So thank you for joining in, and I will see you soon. Bye.